Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. Happy to have you back with us today. We got a good show going for you today. We're talking about how disaster can happen anytime, anywhere.
Says the resident expert in this.
Yeah. So, hey, Chin, what's up? We'll just go.
Hey, Chin's up, y'all.
Yeah, so I moved to Texas. And the rolling blackouts decided to follow me down here. So, yeah, that was
kick
great.
you out.
I know. They're like, the memes were all like, Californians don't bring your rolling blackouts here. I'm like, oh, I didn't do it, I swear. It wasn't me. It was the one on
brought your
man.
Michigan snow and your California blackouts all at once.
Hey, you know, when I come to party. Like, it's like, boom, it's game on.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, yeah. So it's been an interesting week. We didn't have a live show last week. Honestly, it was already getting really yucky here, and last week's when things just kind of fell apart here. But it was just that, Valentine's Day needed a little break, so we're back here today and doing our thing. But that doesn't mean that the show isn't going on, because the audio drama is getting into the heart of the materials. Episode 5 went live today. Or not today, this week. And 6 is up for paid members. And also, if you're a paid member, I did a special binge episode.
Whoa. It's like Netflix.
Right, it is. I was like, oh, I want to hear it. So I knew everybody else probably wanted to hear it too. So if you're a paid member, you can go right on over to the member bonus content. I got my website up here for you guys all to check it out if you're with me on Twitch. And you just go to the member bonus content link, and it's there. Let me show you where that's at. I'll go back up here. So you just click on the member content here. If you're not a member yet, you can become a member. And, it's $3 a month. And then you go into members content, and you can get the binge episode there. So
That's cool.
Yeah. And I'll be putting up 6 through 12 after that. So good stuff. Good stuff. And it's getting, like I was telling you before the show, you are going to be on, with Burgess's story and stuff. You get new content again. So
Yeah, it's just like the good old days. I get fresh content.
That's right. And it's so much fun. And the end of the show, like Phil Rabelais, he's playing Burgess. And he really brings it at the end of the show. I was like, yeah, Phil, dude, breaking out your shell. Like, he really brings it. So
I was just talking to him. I was making sure he's okay, a welfare check. There was a shooting at a gun store down his way.
Oh,
yeah.
That was in Louisiana? I saw L.A.
Yeah.
I thought it was SoCal.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, so did I at first.
Yeah.
L.A., right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, oh, crap, that's
crazy.
Phil. So I had to quick send him a message, said, Phil, you okay?
Yeah, I'll have to give a shout out. Yeah, and Ben Brenham's playing General Major Barnes in that one too. So it's like the showdown between General Major Barnes and Burgess, and it's so good. So good. Yeah. So I'm excited to keep going with that. That's fun. It's been good stuff. And, Survivor Jade, she did a great job in there. Everybody really did. They just get a lot more animated at the end. So stay tuned, you guys. That's been fun. And if you're feeling it, you want to just binge out on it, that is an option now. Yeah.
I heard Lisa, Dale in there.
Yep.
Dave.
Yep.
Dave's bringing it.
Brian Duff is actually in the end, too. So.
Oh, I didn't pick him up.
No, he's in the later shows. Because he jumped in later on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's Jordan's been in there.
Yep.
Jake Fergie, yeah.
Yes, yeah. She does a bunch of stuff. Yep. Yeah. She did some good stuff. One of my coworkers did voice for me. Her and her significant other. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Jordan's kids actually are in there a little bit too, along with.
Oh, that's the little kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And some of the little kids are actually adults.
With TJ? Who's the little TJ?
That is actually my son. My son's best friend. He's my surrogate son. His girlfriend Barb used to do a lot of acting and stuff. So she does little TJ. That's actually a girl. Dude. Yeah.
Oh, I could.
Yeah, she does a good job, huh?
Tell the real TJ
I know.
that he's being played by a girl.
Oh no. Okay, no wait. I'm wrong. Little TJ is George Hart's son.
Oh, okay.
Xander. I always want to say Sean, but McClintock's son.
Oh, yeah.
McClintock's son is Barb. So yeah. Well, everybody's just having fun with that. And then George is all over the place. Dale plays a lot of roles, actually.
Yeah. I've heard him a couple times.
Yeah, he plays a lot of roles, and he's fun. And then of course Ryan.
So I haven't been able to pick him out.
Ryan?
He's one of the brothers.
Yes, Ryan is Yuri and Serge.
Oh, both of them.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And that's why, like, when I heard Ryan's real voice, I was like, oh, that's what his voice sounds like? Because I've only been... So Ryan is Yuri and Serge. He's Lapierre. He plays the French guy, too.
Yeah, the French guy. Yep.
Yeah. He does have some roles later on where he's using his real voice. Philip? Cassidy's, like, bodyguard type person.
Oh, yeah?
Philip is Ryan.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
He must be rolling in the dough from all these.
Yeah. That's been my great, like, everybody's been so awesome because, that's what, if we can get the paid membership up, we can start earning some money off of the, if you guys go to Prepare with Changing Earth, do your orders there. I'm trying to get money so I can hook everybody up.
Well, it's getting all the audiences exposed to each other. Because I know, like, over at the Prepper Broadcasting Network, they're all bragging about their roles on your show. So
awesome. Awesome. I'll have to get over
everybody's getting to hear everybody else's stuff, which is great,
Yeah, and they're always on when I'm training. So I'm like, dang it, like I can't jump out of the show because I'm training. Like those are my training nights. I usually,
because here they're on. A lot of shows come on at 9.
Yeah.
So I usually listen to them the next day.
Yeah. See, like the Monday night show is right when I get off work, and then I go train.
That's the one I try to catch live.
Mm-hmm. If I'm home, I'm there.
Like the round table, but the other shows I usually just listen to.
If I'm home, I'm there. Because like sometimes my instructor, gets busy with work and stuff. Like who doesn't? Yeah. So if I'm home, I'm there. But it's been a trick because like I gotta, how important my training is to me.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, that's awesome. It's just been a ball. So yeah, guys, check it out. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing out because it's a lot of fun. So in episode 5, that's where Erica finds Star. And I wanted to talk, it's relevant today on our show. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. It's a scene where Erica comes upon a man raping a woman, and then she's just like Joe Schmo. She doesn't know, like, should I go help this person? I don't even know this person.
Right.
And I'm going to put myself at risk.
You want to expose yourself? Yeah.
Right. But she can't sit there and, like, just let it happen. So she does intervene. Yep. And then, I don't want to say what happens too much because if you haven't heard it and you're just listening to audio drama, then, we're not to that point yet. You hear, like, the aftermath in 6. But I really wrote that as, like, the exercise for my own mental. Yeah. Of like, what would you do? Yep. And then in Swenson's story, we're looking at like what happens when laws are removed. And you have these people in society who have just been waiting for this day when they can like do whatever, you know. And he was raised by like the psychopath, and you know, so there's these elements.
Throwing a kid away.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed. Throw the kid away.
Yeah, throw the kid.
They
You know,
found
the
him in a
things you
dumpster.
find in the trash. I mean,
That was a great scene. That was fun.
right? Yeah. And really Laudner's the one who, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then Burgess, in writing his backstory, I really wanted to do a look at like if you were in the military and this stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't have a family, but you're close with your guys and they have families. And what kind of like decisions are you going to have to make? How does that jive with your moral codes? And I guarantee you guys are all going to be surprised by Burgess's story by the end. It's good thing Phil's not on the show because he's the only one who knows. And probably James and Chappie too, if they actually read around their
all the
characters' lines. Right. So, but yeah, you're going to all be looped out on that one. But then again, you know, so that was where I wanted to go with Burgess because I have just a deeper understanding now from all the years of podcasting, you know, about different military topics and things like that. And so I really wanted to present that in a better light. So that I said it was relevant today because we just went through a week. A really interesting week here. And yeah. And so as a preparedness person, this is the time when I just kind of sit back and start taking notes on, you know, how fast are people kind of falling apart? How fast do things happen? How fast are the stores out of product? How, you know, to me, that's all really relevant. And it's about having your mindset. So,
yeah, because nowadays we think we have so much choice and so much selection, right? When we go to the store, you can find anything from around the world.
Right.
But there's only like one or two of them.
Yes.
In the store.
Exactly.
As opposed to when we were kids, there was, you know, stacked, you know, a dozen of them on the shelf plus another 5 cases in the back.
And how fast does it take for those things to run out?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Know, how fast? Like, and they couldn't get more, right?
Nope.
So we're gonna go into that, but
and it's not just normal buying, because now people get freak out buying.
Panicky. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So that's what we're gonna go into a little bit of that. But an interesting thing that I never really related to our preparedness training is if you think about athletes, right? If you've ever been an athlete, if you've ever trained as an athlete, they do mental projection, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a basketball player, you picture yourself doing that free throw. How does that look? What does the muscles feel like? How does that, right? And they have shown scientifically that athletes who practice that mental focus and that mental preparation actually do better than if you're just practicing physically. So there's a lot to be said for the mental exercise of going through these things with your mind before disaster hits, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're just more prepared for it. So that's
why they do all the simulation training, like clearing rooms and all the police simulation and the flight simulation for pilots and
yeah, exactly.
All that stuff. Yeah.
So thinking through the scenarios. Really important. That's why disaster reading is important. That's why, you know, things like my stories, 1 Second After, you know, there's a myriad of books out there that I could, the Tyrant series, all those, you know, are great things to really go through. That's why prepper fiction is really, really kind of cool. You learn at the same time. And more than once this past week, I went, thank you, God, for putting me on this path of being a preparedness person, because, you know, I was ready. My dad was worried about me. Oh, do they have enough food and everything? And my mom's like, Sarah's got enough food to last like 20 years. I don't. But, you know, when you get to that level of relevance. So.
Yeah.
So water. same thing. Water was being compromised in the area. I have my Lexapure sitting on I could get pond water and put it in there, So there's certain things that people start thinking about when you're in this situation that if you've already pre-thought it, you're like, oh, no big deal,
Heat.
Yeah.
Heat and cooking fuel were the two, I bet.
Yeah. Our stove is gas. And we still had gas. So, we're good to go. And we started boiling water and stuff for heat. And I never thought about the condensation from boiling water.
Oh, yeah.
Might freeze in your house. But then I saw the pictures on the news of like...
Do you have icicles?
Well, I mean, our windows were getting pretty steamy and stuff. And I didn't think about like...
It was Valentine's Day.
No. Some of the like ceiling fans in Dallas and stuff had like literally icicles hanging off of them and stuff.
Oh, I saw like pipes bursting.
Yeah.
And the water coming out. Like
we were, if we would have been out for another day, it would have been really dicey. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, okay. All right. Yeah. So Denise is with us, and she's like, she's in South Texas, never once thought she would need a heat backup. Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Everybody was just like, thought the same thing. Like, we're in Texas,
Two is one.
Yeah. So we'll just go into the firewood thing now since we're on the topic. So we heated our home every winter in California with firewood because we had a log cabin, very expensive to keep it heated. And so the firewood was our mainstay. And gosh, there'd be times, we're out of wood. We'd be out in the middle of the winter, rainstorms, chainsawing in the mud to get that firewood. It was just a constant chore all the time. Yeah. And so when we moved here, we were like, oh, dude, we're good. We're not even worried about firewood, Mm-hmm. Yeah, little did we know that we needed the firewood. So we're going to have firewood for the future. Don't get me wrong. That was a total prepper error right there. I should have never.
Do you have a fireplace in your house?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I was like looking at furniture that we could burn with, like stuff that I'm like, I don't really care for that. Let's just throw it in the fireplace. Yeah. Because we could have used the wood burner. It would have been a lot better. But we've trained for so long in disaster preparedness. We shut down the house, all the non-essential areas. Yep. We directed the heat to the area where we all were. We took one mattress out, put it on the floor, threw every blanket in the house on top of it, and we just layered up and got under the blankets and played board games and, kept ourselves busy as we were withdrawing from our electricity needs.
Good stuff. It was like camping.
Yeah, exactly. It really was. So this all started February 14th. That was the night that the big storm came in. Now, another thing, you pointed this out, like it's a good idea to assess what kind of heating systems that you have when you move into a new house. So we moved into this new house. We have a heat pump.
Yep.
The heat pump doesn't like to run below 31 degrees. And we didn't know that. And the whole system froze. We haven't even turned it back on yet to make sure that we're okay. Like but it's brand new. It's under warranty, all the good stuff. So, the heat pump actually froze, and then we didn't know what to do. So that's really a good something to figure out before you actually get in the scenario. And what happens is you switch it over to emergency heat, and then just the system in the attic runs. Mm-hmm. And it does provide heat. It's not as much as like the heat pump does. It doesn't do like the same environmental controls on the house, which is all high tech stuff that I don't really know about, but because it's a new system. But you can do the emergency heating. Yep. So we got that. And like I say, we just shut off all the vents in the non-essential areas, just put that and then plugged in like our electric ones on top of it to try and stay as warm as possible. But we also didn't want the house to freeze.
Right.
So it is a trick. So that's just something, I work insurance, so I'm always trying to give people a heads up on, like, if you're buying a new house, things to look out for. And the home warranties are always nice. So.
Uh-huh.
So the fire, yeah. And then we had the electric ones. And there's those ceramic heaters, too,
Yep.
Where you can make the ceramic heater system. So I don't know if listeners have ever seen that, but go check that out. I heard they work really well. The candles did a good job. Like I say, we just layered up, and this house is very energy efficient, unlike the log cabin. So it held the heat for 2 days, literally. Did a good job. It was colder in our house at one point than it was in our refrigerator, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing about Texas, I don't know about South Carolina, but Texas has no snow plows.
Yeah.
Okay? So I've never...
I don't think we have many.
Yeah, I've never... Well, they do in Dallas. I saw like a truck working in Dallas. But I've never lived in an area where there was no snow plows. Mm-hmm. I'm from Michigan, and then we live close enough in Cali to the foothill, to the mountains, that we had snow plows. So that was very weird. They just drive on the roads. I mean, you don't wait for the plow to come. You just go out and drive on the road. It was actually safer than once it started to melt and refreeze, because then it got icy. But when the snow first came down, that's when it was safest.
Yeah.
Denise asked, how safe do we think that the indoor propane heaters are?
Those like My Buddy things?
Yeah. I don't know. I tend to not like burning gas.
Yeah. I keep seeing like reviews on them and stuff, and people use them in like fans and tents, and I just don't have a comfort level with that.
I've heard a lot of horror stories too. People running Jennies, and how somebody died from having their car in the garage, which we actually thought about at one point.
Yeah.
But we're smarter than that. We're like, no, we're gonna fix it ourselves. What was the other ones? I guess there's kerosene you can put in your lanterns. That can also be really bad for you. You have to get like the proper oil that burns inside. That's the other thing we didn't have, was oil for our lanterns. We couldn't find it, and then we forgot about it. And so I have like tons and tons of lanterns, and we didn't have any oil from them. I'm like,
that's another thing. I don't have oil lanterns.
Yeah.
I have a fear of that.
Well, battery power is cool, but if you're working off rechargeables, you got to be able to recharge them.
Yep.
You have to have a shit ton of batteries.
But then the recharging, you need the sun, so.
Right. Yeah. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
So here in Texas, since there's no plows, when snow comes down, everything just closes. Everything just closed. Like school was off for a week. They just did like work from home. The grocery stores were open, limited. Even one of their generators burned out, though. Big rigs are not delivering to the grocery stores. They weren't delivering to Walmart. Like Walmart closed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I've never, I don't like Walmart, but I've never seen it close here down
before hurricanes.
Yeah.
Which kind of put a lot of people out, because they closed like 3 days before hurricane, and people were trying to get their last minute stuff done.
Yeah. So that was all really interesting. So, but what I found about the people here, much more hardy than California. And I'm sure it's a difference. Our power outages were during the summer, and the power outages here were during the winter. So you can obviously see why there's the outages. There's the big difference there. But everybody seemed to just kind of tighten up their bootstraps and be like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, you don't have to worry about food going bad in the winter,
right?
In the summertime, you don't have to worry about hypothermia
and freezing, and your house freezing, all the pipes freezing.
Pipes and stuff, So
there's a difference there, but man, it was bad. California was like...
Here's something that happened. I don't know if this happened down there. So we had really bad ice accumulate, and it was falling off the wires of the bridges on the cars. And they shut the bridges down because they were afraid of somebody getting hurt.
Yeah.
These big chunks of ice falling onto cars.
Yeah, we didn't have that, but we don't have, I don't know.
Yeah, we have tons of bridges with all the waterways down here.
Right. Yeah, I was like, we don't have really that many. We have overpasses for the highway, but that's really it.
No.
So that was one of the difference that I noticed. Like in California, it was really pathetic. Like 3 days without power, and people were like, "Oh, they're in the grocery store on their cell phone. Like this is like living in a third world country." And it's like, really? Do you think so? Do you? You know, because you don't have your air conditioning. I mean, there's still groceries at the store. You know, so I don't know. That was just one of the differences that I noticed in the people. So the preparedness lifestyle, it gives you just confidence, you know. I mean, you want confidence and security. Don't look to the government for it. Provide it for yourself, you know. That's just, you can live in a cage on your knees with them giving you your comfort and security, or you can do it yourself and be prepared, be smart, be self-reliant, help your neighbor out, you know. So we did the blankets. We knew we had plenty of food. And the biggest shocker was just how fast things ran out without power, without the restock. So that was really, really shocking to me. That was like a week and everything was gone.
For me, on the outside, the biggest surprise was how fast systems failed, because you guys had like your power systems had major problems, right? Even though they tried to
major problems.
Yeah, that surprised me.
So I never wrote down the name of that guy on the video.
Oh yeah, that I sent you?
Yeah.
I'll go find him.
Okay, yeah, throw that up in the chat and we'll say it on air too, because this was a great video. And he had actually written about it like 6 months ago. And he was expecting this to happen during the summer, not during the winter. So he was saying that because of the government subsidizing solar and wind so much, that has been the focus of where our energy production has gone to, and how unreliable those sources are, which was apparent during this disaster. So the windmill. Jason Isaac.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show.
Put a link in the show notes up, because that'll be up on the YouTube video too.
Yep.
And so this reliance upon solar and wind makes us very vulnerable. It's also producing less power than like nuclear, coal, or natural gas does. So our production levels are actually going down when the population and the need is going up. And an interesting thing that I thought about too is like, what about on summer nights if we had air conditioners running full tilt and everybody gets home with their electric car and plugs it in?
Yeah, I saw that note. That was a good thought.
Right? Like our grid's going to be able to handle that? How practical are these electric cars with all this going on? So the other thing that I found very, very interesting, having been in California, is that he said this is the same thing that's happening in California. And I was like, wait a minute, back it up. Because in California, they told us it was all to prevent wildfires. That's why we were having the rolling blackouts.
Mm-hmm.
And
you didn't have no wildfires in Texas, did you?
Yeah, no. Yeah, and Denise says it takes about 600 wind turbines to produce as much electricity as one plant unit. It's like as far as like a natural gas or something like that.
Yeah, he was talking about like the areage, the acreage required for solar and wind compared to like fossil fuels.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be using those things, but I'm just saying we should definitely be balancing that and looking at, like, our future needs.
The whole two is one thing.
Exactly.
I mean, we have in our house, if big business and government would run like we try to run our households financially and everything else, like we have electric or gas for your heat, right?
Yeah.
But I have a generator as a backup.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And I have some solar lights and stuff as a backup to a backup.
yeah, and so I found that interesting that the lines have to be charged for the plants to run properly. So when demand goes up, it brings the overall charge of the lines down. And then when that happens, it actually cascades through the system, shuts the systems down because they don't have the charge in the line, which is crazy to me. Like, doesn't, but, I guess it does make sense. You got to have like the full hose kind of thing flowing.
Yeah. Or like a lung, you get a punctured lung and you can't breathe, right?
Yeah, that makes more sense to me, actually, than the hose. Yeah.
You know what freaked me a little bit about what he was saying? He was talking about how much was being bought up by the Chinese.
Yeah.
That wasn't a good thing.
Not at all.
No.
When 25% of our power is coming from wind, and now it's going to be owned by China.
Oh, yeah.
In Texas.
In Texas.
Not
California.
I was not happy about that. I know. This is Texas we're talking about here, folks, not California. This is horrific.
So here's another thought that I had today. So do you see how many systems are kind of like failing, and how much pressure is being put on different like government systems, like the political system, the legal system, now electrical system? I mean, recently, a lot of stuff in America has been tested by fire.
Right? Yeah. It's true. And we're failing. All right. So the rolling blackouts were done because it's the way that they can instantly turn off demand and make sure those lines stay charged. From what that guy was saying, Jason, from what he was saying, if they wouldn't have done that right away, then it could have cascaded even worse and been like months-long outages. So very interesting to just understand the dynamics of our grid system and just power in general, because you turn the light on, it's there. You don't really think about like the buckets of supply to get it to you, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. You guys should check that video out for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty informative.
It was. And like I said, it was interesting to see it on a factual basis laid out about what's happening in California too, because you're not told that.
You're like the perfect one to have on the show for this, Sarah.
I know. Like,
you've lived them both.
It's just propagandized in California. It's like, oh, be afraid. Your house is going to burn down. We can't have wildfires. So we need to protect you with these blackouts. Okay, that makes sense.
Wait. They're trying to control people with fear?
I know.
Man,
right?
If they think about that on like a medical level, we're all doomed.
It's if they figure out that they control people with fear, it's big trouble for us, huh? Wonder what's happening.
Well,
right
it was
now.
nice knowing you, because I'm sure we'll be banned from everything right now.
Oh, let's hope we just continue to fly under the radar.
A lot more free time on Sunday evenings.
Oh, man. So, yeah, it was very interesting. I like that. But what also, every aspect of our life is reliant now upon energy. Like, just being without for, a couple days, 4 days, a week, you realize, like, could we really survive without power? I don't think so. Not at the way we are right now. Not at the level.
These are good test case scenarios for everybody to start taking note of.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to understand how to live through periods where we have to deal without going at each other.
I know everybody's thinking about crazy unrest with political unrest, but here Mother Nature's not stopping.
Mother Nature is not stopping. I keep saying it's a race, right? So it's a race between the people and Mother Nature on who is gonna like sink the ship first, right? And so that I wanted to talk to a little bit about Suspicious Observers and his catastrophe series that he has on his playlist. It is 100% worth going over and watching. However, I warn that this is some serious stuff. It's a major 12-year cycle, or 12-year. It's a major 12,000-year cycle that we're coming up on.
12 years
12-year, every 12-year extinction event, you know.
Yeah.
It's a major 12,000-year cycle. I'll explain a little bit about it, but it makes you just kind of be like, well, if that's happening soon, why am I going to work and paying my taxes, right? So it's obvious why they're not talking about this, like on a mainstream level, because people would just be like, okay, guys. But I kind of wish, on the other hand, too, that they would, because it would give us a chance to think about it and prepare for it. Now, Chin, would you want to live the rest of your life in a bunker? Like in a cave system or something like that?
Actually, I have a call into my realtor, and we're going to look at some this week.
Oh, so. Are you? Yeah.
Some silos.
You're going to look at some silos?
Yeah.
Well, have you ever watched the shows on like the underground tunnel systems that they found like all over the world, where like 20,000 people survived there? They were all built like 12,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would people do this?
Wait, what's this cycle thing you're just talking about?
He has a name for it. It's called like the Heinrich's cycle.
12,000 year cycle.
Yeah. Exactly. 12,000 years ago, they built these caves. Yeah. So the sun science was missing before on why would they do this. And everybody's always attributed it to like meteor strike. Meteor strike was the extinction events. Meteor strike, right? Well, it turns out that every 12,000 years, the sun basically, like the outer shell of it hardens, and then it blasts it off. So it's kind of like a shotgun blast of every metal on the periodic table that gets blasted out into space, hits the Earth, hits the moon, hits Mars. We found the vitrified rock. So that is like sand, stone, things like that have been blasted with such heat that it turns into glass.
Wow.
And we believe...
Hey, did you see we landed on Mars? Squirrel.
Yeah, right. They're like, we better put up some major radiation shielding for them.
I got my blanket, my space blanket.
Are you? Did you get? I saw an ad. Do you want to go to space? Sign up here.
I know. What's his name?
I was like, hell
Tesla.
No. No, I don't want to.
They're having a little problem with the landing now, though.
Oh, are they?
Like 3 of them blew up on landing.
Ooh. Well, no, I'm not going to space. I'm good.
You don't even want to fly.
Yeah, I don't want to fly. I don't want to go across the ocean. I know.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe I might do like the Alaska cruise one day, because you
That'd
can
be cool.
see.
You could drive
land
up there
the whole time.
You could drive up there and then get on a boat.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so basically, the perfect storm is headed our way for this to happen. In space right now, we exist in this cloud of debris, basically, but it also acts as a magnetic shield for us. It's kind of like being in a humid area. You don't have as much static electricity there, right? But if you go out into a really hot or a really cold, dry day, you have a lot more static electricity. So we're basically going into this area where we're going to lose that shielding. Our magnetic poles are also shifting right now faster than we've recorded it in the past in like modern history and modern time, modern recordedness. So they were like wandering around, which is no big deal, but now they're like on the move, right? And ironically enough, the North and South Pole are actually moving towards the same point, which would be somewhere in between, over by Australia, New Zealand area, And then they say the new South Pole would be in between North and Central America. So I found that fascinating because could you imagine?
Oh, wow. Santa will be like in my backyard.
Right? Could you imagine like the Earth tilting up that way? That'd be crazy.
We had an earthquake about 40 minutes away from my house last week.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And that's what's coming with this because so the Earth right now is spinning faster and faster. They were predicting that the shortest day would be in August this year. Now May, it's going faster and faster. We broke the record 28 times last year for the fastest days. So we don't notice like a millisecond. That's no big deal to us. But you can bet the magnetic core notices it. So that's one of the caveats that comes with this is increased earthquake and volcanic activity. It's almost like there was a book written about this. I don't know, like of this fictional series where there was
look
like
it up.
Catastrophic earthquakes. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's called the Change the Earth series.
You know, if it's another one of those where the main character wakes up in a wine cellar, I gotta read it.
Yeah, you gotta read that one.
Those are the best.
And if you need food to survive it, you gotta go to Prepare with Changing Earth. Get your food right there, guys.
Oh, look at that! There's an ad.
Boom.
There's an ad for that.
Yeah. And the go bags, of course, you know, but you're going to need the food. And you're going to, you know what we needed? Coffee.
Oh,
we were running out of coffee. I know.
Boom, there it is.
Boom.
Yeah, I've been drinking the heck out of some disaster. That's some good stuff.
It's awesome stuff. We splurged last night and opened up one of our bags. So
there you go.
Okay, so we got the magnetic pole shift. We're moving out of this cloud in space. And then the sun is also starting to go on its cycle where it's giving us less protection from cosmic rays. So this, like the novas don't only happen from our own sun. We are assaulted with them all the time. So we could definitely be hit with one of those. And like I say, I'm going to delve into this like way more in the future. I'm just trying to give you like a surface scratch right now to get you interested. Go down the rabbit hole yourself. Check this out. What was the book that Christian won at Prepper Camp? The ABCs of EMP. Do you know who wrote what's the guy that wrote it? Anyway, worth checking out. But they're like, you shouldn't even put your cell phone in there because it's going to be useless anyway. Like, seriously think about what you want in a Faraday cage.
Is it lights on?
No, it's the ABCs of EMP.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But I can't remember the author's name.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, what a great book for an 8-year-old to win.
Hey,
you know,
he might better start reading it.
I know.
He didn't want to give it back, though. People were trying to trade with it.
I know. Yeah, and he was like, no, I'm good.
Smart.
I know, right? But it's something to think about. So Faraday cage, like, you'd want medically, if you have like things that you need medically, those would be the items to put in there. So stuff like that. Everything else is going to be toast if we get hit by something like that. And if our power grid was just smacked, even by a CME on that level, it's going to take so long to get back online. We're going to be looking at some really interesting times in the interim. You're going to want some long-term food. You're going to want, to know your neighbors. You're going to need to get together with your neighbors.
And what's the downrange effect of being without electricity for so long? You know, what is going to collapse?
Everything.
Because the electric wasn't there to provide power to heat it, cool it, move it, stop it, whatever has to be done.
Right. Look what happened with the natural gas plants here. There's definitely winterizing that needs to be done because Texas isn't used to that. So obviously they make it up north. But like a lot of the orifices and things like that had condensation on them, froze. So then it takes time to get it back online. So, just like you're saying, what nuclear?
Secondary effects are happening.
If you don't have the water flowing to cool that nuclear waste that's in all these holding, what happens to that? Are you around that?
Well, it might warm you up.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, so even if it's not, so they don't think on this 12-year cycle that it would be like a major extinction event. But it's serious, very serious survival situation. It's definitely the beginning of a survival novel where a lot of people are going to die if we're not prepared, if we don't talk about it as a community, if we don't come together. So, yeah. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, we have to know about this stuff. I understand why they don't want to bring it mainstream, because people would just be like, ah! But if you you put it in perspective and kind of think about it, honestly, I'm not sure I'd want to live in a bunker for any amount of time. So, I mean, if that's it for me and I go out with like sun, nuclear radiation, but maybe I want my kids in there, you know, maybe. I don't know. Have you ever watched The 100?
I don't know.
That one's they're in like a bunker and everything for days. It gets pretty nasty in there.
Yeah.
But there's the amount of evidence that he's bringing forward on suspicious observers. It just lines up way too clearly with the past really advanced societies that they think were here 12,000 years ago. Okay? Were no longer there. We don't know what happened to them. We don't know why they just disappeared, right? They have the vitrification of the stones. They have mammoths. So everybody's like, all the scientists are like, oh, I heard this a lot with my book. Oh, it takes thousands and millions of years for these things to happen. You know, we could definitely. Well, how then does a mammoth get frozen with its mouth full of food?
He's a slow eater.
It happened so long. You know, flash frozen with a mouth full of food. That is not a long process. That is like it happened now. Okay? That is like, we just figured out how to flash freeze things within the last, 15 years, 20 years or whatever.
For the astronauts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's what makes like smoothie shops possible. Otherwise, you couldn't have all the fresh fresh fruits right there without the flash freezing process. Yeah, I know that from working at Jamba Juice. Pick up things from
know that. Now you spoiled that for me.
I know. So yeah, that wouldn't be possible. Those fruits come from all over the world, and they're flash frozen there, so that they're fresh for your smoothies. So it's my opinion that these things can happen much faster than science would like you, and they scare the hell out of you on some things, like same amount of people died last year from tuberculosis as died from the thing that everybody's scared of. But we all got to be scared of that one and wear masks and do all this stuff. But don't worry about tuberculosis, because the vaccine for that is like $3. The vaccine for the other they're selling for like $35 to $300. So it's money, it's just money and fear mongering. It's really sickening. So I do get why they wouldn't want to bring it mainstream. However, I think it's just like so big, sticking your head in the sand if you're overlooking this. So yeah, there's a lot of problems happening politically and stuff, but that's all power grab. The earth could be like, yeah, screw you guys, and like a beat. And none of that matters anymore.
Could be.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of throwing us some warm-up pitches right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole central, so the insurance company that I work for, our hub is in Dallas. It froze. We have two as one is none. We're an insurance company, right?
Yep.
The other one's in Kansas. It froze too. Yeah. I mean, dead in the water. The same week I couldn't go to work, or the same day I couldn't go to work because the power's out. They couldn't work either. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's...
Isn't that hilarious? I know.
No, not really, but...
Yeah, it just toasted cry, so. Everything. Exactly. So how fast can Mother Nature, like, oh, you guys think you had plans? And you guys had all that stuff going on? Yeah. Poof. Gone. Yep. Yeah. No, Denise, not freeze dried. This is flash frozen. So it's literally like they take fresh stuff and just hit it with a gas, I believe, that just instantly, or maybe nitro, or the liquid nitrogen. Is that the stuff they pour, dry ice? I think it's a process like that that just instantly freezes it and keeps it really fresh. So, so event like this, we're talking even a Carrington event on our modern technology on our planet, like power, internet, communications, everything gone. Yep. And going full circle this episode, that question right there, I asked my girlfriends one time when we were at the river, what would you do if there was no power? And they went, we wouldn't have our blow dryers and our curling irons. And I'm just not that girl. So I was like, dude, guys, we wouldn't have computers, communications, cooling, like for our food supplies, all these things that we rely upon. And
payment processing.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about like the old credit cards used to be lumpy, so you could run them over with the carbon to get a
automated
right?
houses, all the stuff that they're building into houses now.
Cars,
self-driving
vehicles,
cars.
Yeah. All of this stuff that we just take for granted.
Trains and boats and planes, and
each day we get more and more reliant upon it and take it for granted, and it could be a flash.
Have you seen the latest commercial on Amazon? So we have Amazon Prime, right? So that's how we get video because I don't have cable. And so they're running ads like in the movie. It's great, right?
Oh, great.
So it's getting more like regular TV. But they have like the guy's eating breakfast and he's got a pot of coffee, and this little like Matchbox van, Amazon van, bumps into it. It fills up his coffee, and they're like, well, with subscription services, you never run out.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Let's just automate it all.
That'll all go away.
Yeah. I know. And that's what I was saying. Looks like even this tiny little test, and we had the tests in California, and even those little tiny little tests, you can just watch how fast things deteriorate. And so if you look at it on a mega scale like that, and then plus
like people's like credit cards don't work, or their
and what I was saying too about the credit cards, right? Remember they used to have the bumps?
Yep.
Now they don't even have that anymore. Like they don't even have the bumpy numbers anymore. Yep. They're like written on the back, and you know, we'd have no way.
It's a chip now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way.
Which is supposed to be more secure, so it's good in a way, but it's not all.
It's not. If you take away, the power and everything to run it, it's just really, really.
Yeah, the little thing where you slide it back and forth.
Right? Yeah, on the carbon paper.
Yeah, the carbon. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Sign here.
Yeah. Yes. On the paper. Yeah. I'm dating myself, I guess, but I still remember that, like, when the power went out back in the day, that's how you used to use your card.
Well, I remember having that before.
Yeah, I know.
The only way you use your card.
I played with it as a kid when we played store. We had an extra one,
Sure.
So I still remember that from playing with it as a kid. Like, oh, these were back in the old times. Yeah, but my kids, man, you take away their power, and they're just like, what do we do? I mean, they were withdrawing. Like, my son was like going, my older one. My younger one's like, we'll play board games, blah, 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 blah. I hate technology. My older one's like, I'm going to kill somebody. I can't get online and play my games. And So, and Denise says we can't even pay cash because nobody knows how to count change anymore.
Well,
Isn't
that's
that
basically becoming illegal now. It's paying in cash.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. See, it's all this.
Yeah.
You're going to get germs. Oh, we're all wussies. Sorry, but man, we need to suck it up. I thought we were like Americans. We're supposed to be hardy. The video you sent me on the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, isn't that?
I knew the story. I love that story.
I said it to Dave Jones, and it made him cry.
Yeah. And ironically, I heard that from Glenn Beck. He read like the same thing.
Yeah.
And the bodies of the Patriots popped
held
propped
the
up
flag
the
up.
flags at the end. Yeah.
Mm.
And my son, Christian, he had just asked me like the other day, Mom, we were watching something or doing something. Mom, I don't remember the Star Spangled Banner anymore. I forgot it. Can you, remind me of like the words to the song and everything so I can remember it? Yeah, I know. He's awesome. And so I was like, well, let's not do it right now because we're watching this show. But I promise you, if you remind me this weekend, we'll go through it. Okay. So then you had sent me that video. And I was like, this is even better. How about you learn the story behind the song?
Which everybody should. That's why it hits people so hard.
Yeah.
When people disrespect it.
Yeah.
It's not whatever. It's not because they don't want you to have your
freedom.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
It's just that
show respect to those people who fought for this country. Fathers who gave their life and husbands who laid down and died for that flag that day.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why I say we're just really we need to suck it up a lot more. We've gotten so pampered by all of our modern technology. It's fake, right? It's a fake world. It's not real. That's why I try to tell Fletcher, like, you're playing video games all the time and stuff. This is not real.
Yeah.
This is fake from technology. This is not actually like reality. This this is just an artificial existence. And when you take away that artificial existence, how is that going to affect people? That's what I'm really afraid of. I hope that enough. If we can wake up, we can band together as a community rather than fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
So keep listening to the show. We'll do it together. I promise. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Well, I want to go a lot more into that catastrophe playlist. I'm going to kind of dissect some areas, even though, when you first start watching Suspicious Observers, you'll be like, I have no idea what this guy is talking about.
Space weather. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you'll be like, I have no idea what this guy is talking about. And he goes through a ton of information. Like he does a short show every morning. He must read like hours worth of material for like 10 minutes, 10 minutes worth of show. You can't talk during it. It's well produced, though. It's well executed.
It is. You have to like focus on that, though. If you look away for a second, you're going to lose something because he goes through so much so fast. And at first I was just like, I don't understand what this guy is talking about at all, But the more you watch it, the more you start to understand what he's actually talking about. And then the depth of research that he's done on this topic is really impressive. And he's got some great material from lectures over the past years that he's done, that he's seen, interviews, things like that, different people from, professionals from the community. And so once you understand a little bit of the lingo, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is legit. Like, whoa. Should I go to work on Monday? How bad do I really care about paying off that credit card?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. He said like within the next 10 years, it could be 20. We'll see, but we're definitely right on the doorstep of the event. So we need to keep eyes open. And as he says, eyes open, no fear,
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember his catchphrase. That's the one.
Eyes open, no fear. I've been watching like once I got into it, I was like, oh, I have to just watch all of these. I'm not even through them all. I've been watching them for like a week. So, yeah, check that out, guys. That's Suspicious Observers, and he's on YouTube, and he has a website and all that. Suspicious Observers. Alrighty. Well, our hour is up. That was an awesome show. I hope you guys go check out the audiobook drama, because we've just been having so much fun with that, the audio drama. And paid members get the binge episode now, and I tell you, it's pretty cool to sit down and just listen to the whole thing. I will admit that it was on a selfish note that I put that together. And then we didn't do a show last Sunday, so I had some extra space on my software uploader, you know. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll just upload this, take up that, it was a big chunk of data. So that's there, and it was a selfish move. I wanted to hear 1 to 6 without, with just going through it. And I was like, you know what? If I wanted to hear it, I bet you everybody else will. So I have that up there. Paid members, $3 a month is, I don't know what you can get for $3 a month. I think a candy bar costs you about $3 nowadays. So it would really be great. Really appreciate your guys' support. It really helps for keeping the Changing Earth world going round. And yeah, totally. Thank you for hanging out with us live on Twitch. Love you. That's epic. And we'll do it all again next week. So until then, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series,